Welcome to I Swear I'm an Introvert, the podcast where we celebrate and amplify the voices of Black women in business. Here we dive deep into the real stories, from childhood dreams to entrepreneurial success, while tackling the conversations we don't have often enough about mental health, resilience, and representation. Our mission is to empower women, inspire little brown girls, and show the world that our stories matter, our voices are powerful, and our success is limitless. I am your host, Lindsey T. Evans, your Savvy SheEO. This podcast is being recorded in our recording studio at Liberty Point Consulting and Liberty Point Realty in Orland Park, Illinois. This podcast is being filmed and produced by Brian Evans, owner of Flawless Focus Digital Media. This episode is being sponsored by Precious Memories Preserved, where we convert VHS taped memories that the whole family can enjoy today. Let's welcome today's guest, Nikeva Lawrence, the owner and lead planner of SouthWind Events. She's an electrical engineer turned wedding planner. Y'all, I can't wait to hear this story. Hey, Nikeva.
Hey, girl.
How you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm so honored to have you here talking with me today.
I'm excited.
I told Nikeva that I try to behave, but I tend to cut up. And she said, just go ahead and cut up.
We're going to cut up the whole time.
Here we are.
Yep.
Yep. What is one word you use to describe yourself right now?
Oh, you jumping in, aren't you?
Well, it's okay. It could be surface. It could be deep. It could be.
Oh, man. One complex.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I think we all can relate to
yes.
that. Ooh, that's good. Tell us about your childhood and like what was life like growing up for you?
I grew up in Washington, D.C.
Oh.
So I'm not from Chicago at all. I am the youngest of 3 children. My next closest sibling is 9.5 years older than me. Above that is 12 years. So I essentially grew up an only child.
Yes, you did.
Pretty much.
Yes, you did.
I was, for the majority of my life, I was raised by my single mom. And I was sheltered. So I wasn't going over a friend's house and spending the night. They were coming to my house and spending the night.
That part.
Right. I wasn't out in the streets. I never was, I never used drugs. I never drank excessively. Like, I lived a very sheltered life. I left D.C. To go to college.
Okay.
I went to Florida A&M University in Tallahassee. Go Rattlers. And I got my degree in electrical engineering. When I graduated, I was like, okay, I'm not going back home. I'm not going to go to Atlanta because my brother lives in Atlanta, and we probably would have killed each other, after about 6 months at that point. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, where am I going to go? And literally, when we got back home after our family vacation, after my graduation, there was a FedEx envelope sitting on the doorstep, and it was a job offer. That was 100% travel. And so for almost 2 years, about 2 years, I lived out of my suitcase and I traveled for a locomotive manufacturer.
Oh, that's amazing.
I was inspecting and repairing locomotives.
What?
Yeah. I was a 22-something-year-old going from railroad to railroad, inspecting and repairing locomotives.
That's amazing.
This little black girl.
Knew this. This is great. I'm like, wait, you did what?
Yeah, this little black girl going to these random rail shops in the middle of nowhere.
Typically.
With all these older white men.
Yeah.
And they're sitting there looking at me like, what you doing here?
Uh-huh.
What qualifies you to, literal conversation, what qualifies you to be here? Why you here? I'm here to fix the locomotive out there that you couldn't.
Oh.
And I fixed the locomotive.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
Yeah. I got tired of living out of my suitcase, and so I transferred to our headquarters in a suburb of Chicago. And that's how I ended up here.
That is so interesting. When you think you know somebody. I've known Nikeva for a gazillion years. And I guess we never sat down and said, hey, girl, like, how'd you grow up? We never. That's amazing. Wow. I have so many questions. I'm going to keep that. It's just sparking so many questions.
Go with it. Let's go.
What kind of experience? Wow. And I can only imagine. Oh, my God. So this is interesting. Were you always entrepreneurial, or was this something you just grew into or got tossed into or you fell into?
I fell into it. There was nothing in me that was entrepreneurial at all.
And then electrical engineering seems like it's one side of the brain.
It is.
On the complete opposite of the side of the brain that does event planning.
It is.
How?
Kind of.
Mm-hmm. How on earth?
So when I settled here in Chicago at our headquarters, I found my niche in project management. And so I was managing resources and timelines and a little bit of budget. And that's what I enjoyed. Like, I was okay working 14, 16 hours in the office. I know that's absurd. I know. But it was doing things that I loved, right? Process management and then project management. And so when I fell into, literally, because I'm like,
I'm waiting on this one.
Fell into wedding planning, I struggled. And I was like, God, what do these things have in common? Like, it's totally opposite. And what he showed me was that the same skills that I was using for project management at work are the skills that I have to use for planning, which is a project. A wedding is a project.
Yeah.
Planning all of my weddings for my clients. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. But then I also get to use the opposite side of my brain with the creative side. Yeah. But what I have learned in my process is, and I've always known this, but trying to almost educate the community, is that there's a difference between a wedding planner and a wedding designer.
Okay. Yes, right? I can see that.
A wedding designer is the heart of what makes everything beautiful. Yes. Right? They're the colors and the prints and the flowers and all the things, right? The planner manages the logistics, keeping things flowing in order, making sure that, there's a logical step to all the things that helps your day run smoothly. This is where my heart is, over on this side. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Can I do this? The designer part? Absolutely. But is it my passion? No.
Not so much.
I can do it. I'm capable. I can create beautiful weddings. But this logistical side gets me excited. Give me a complex situation and complex family dynamics. Oh, I'm excited.
Oh, you'll take those too?
Yes.
You hear that?
Well, hold on. Slow.
I'm like, you hear that? Well, they say weddings and funerals are really what brings out all the colors and all the people.
All of them, yes.
So you solely focus on weddings then? Or do you do other events as well?
I do other events as well.
Okay.
But my heart is weddings. It is. Yeah. I love to see people come together as one in the blending of families. There's something special, especially when you know it's a marriage that's meant to be together. Now, there are weddings that we do because you paying me, and I know y'all not going to last more than 3 or 5, 4,
this is
3, 4, 5 years.
This is a job.
Right?
Yep.
But yes, you're paying me to do a job, and I'm going to create whatever you need me to create. But I love the process of seeing couples come together as one, knowing that there's purpose to their union.
I got it. I understand. Wow. But the patience, I'm thinking like, the patience you have to.
Yes.
So, because now I'm curious. When we say I fell into, what happened?
So, for y'all that don't know, Lindsey and I went to the same church.
Yeah, we did.
Okay. That's how we met.
A million years ago.
And so at the church, I was in the choir. And the choir had a committee of like social events. Right?
Fair.
So we would plan the Christmas parties and the birthday celebrations. And somehow I always ended up on those committees and eventually ended up like as the lead. And then at a point, our pastor wanted to do a singles conference for the city. Mm. I was over the singles ministry at the time. Million years ago, yes. Uh-huh. And I ended up chairing that conference. Oh. It was incredible, right? And so with that, someone who was at the church, whose husband had passed away previously, so she was a widow, and she was getting remarried. And she said, Nikeva, I met this man. We're going to get married. Can you plan my wedding? And I was like, I guess so. I don't know. But I did it. And I loved every bit of it.
Wow.
Every bit of it. Now, what I also learned in the process, she didn't have a whole lot of money. So I called myself trying to be a florist.
Makes a difference.
I'm not a florist, okay?
You learned.
I learned that real quick. Not my gift. But planning that wedding,
wow.
Loved every bit of it. And since then, it just became, how do I find my place in this?
That doesn't make, I talk to a lot of entrepreneurs, and we kind of, especially when we land, we're like, well, what got us here? Because we started somewhere way over here, and then we ended up here.
Yeah.
There's a movie I watched on Netflix called Look Both Ways.
Okay.
And it kind of traveled through, it was a couple, and they had a choice of making this decision or this decision. Mm-hmm. And the movie took us through the path of both decisions. Yeah. It was so encouraging to me because when they ended up at the same place. So the journey was a little different, but they still met some of the same people, like in different way. It was incredible. It gave me peace, because I don't know if you've ever gotten to this place in life where you're like, where am I supposed to be? Yes. Am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing? Is it? And that movie calmed me down to say, hey, wherever you end up is absolutely where you're supposed to be. And so when we find ourselves tossed into entrepreneurship, it's like, oh, so this is what it was supposed to be all along. Yeah. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I would never guess that.
And what's wild is for those first, I don't know, maybe 10 years, 10 years, I was just doing it as a hobbyist, right? And in 2015, my mom was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. Mm-hmm. And so it was a whole God move. But anyway, by that point, I was able to spend 2 weeks in Chicago and 2 weeks in Maryland to take care of my mother, right? And so I was in Maryland at the time, taking care of my mother, random Tuesday, and I was sitting at the desk, and I heard God say, I wasn't thinking about wedding planning at all, right? Nothing was going on, but I heard God say, you do this, and you do it well, so let's go. And on that random Tuesday, I already had the name, right? But I created a website, and I was like, now what? I don't have any clients, so what do I do now? And literally, that was the point that everything shifted. Literally.
The phone rang. Just, sometimes all he wants
is a yes.
A yes. It's true.
Yeah.
And then he just opens.
He opened the door.
Okay, open.
He opened the door. Ooh. I was like, okay, this is a visual industry. I don't like social media. I'm going to get an Instagram, but I don't have nothing to put on it. He said, okay, go to this training course. So I took the course and I learned how to do all the design stuff, right? And then it was like, okay, what? I don't have any clients. And he said, okay, advertise here. And the clients started coming. And it's just been a ride ever since.
That's so much. Oh, that's, for people that are not people of faith, and they find themselves doing something different that they didn't expect to do. I think there's a level of God speaking to them there, and they just don't put a name to
Right.
the voice. But I have to believe that entrepreneurship, well, it does. It requires faith.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
it's where you put your faith that will determine where you'll land. But for what I love about, this podcast and the people that I get to sit down and talk with, is so similar. Like everybody is like, no, God, I could not have done this without God, and let me tell you why. And this is what he did. This is what he said. And he's not typical. He does it in the way that the person needs it to be done.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Because he knows what's going to work for you, what's
Right.
going to
Right.
get you going. So,
and he knows the timing too, because had he said that to me even months before that random Tuesday in February, I'd have been like, please, okay.
know who you talking to? Because who
Not
you talking
me.
to? It wouldn't be me. No.
Not me.
That's,
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is interesting. So, who were your role models or biggest influences when you were young? I always have trouble answering that question. So I'm like, well, I think.
That's exactly how I feel. So I think it was one of my mother's friend's daughters, right? And she just had this persona about her. She was confident and she was no nonsense. And I was just like, I want to be like that. Yeah. Because as a child, like I was, and still now, right? I am naturally to myself. I'm obviously natural introvert.
Takes one to know one.
Right?
I'm trying to tell y'all.
But I wanted to be able to speak up the way that she did. I wanted to be able to have that strong presence and not intimidating or controlling or demeaning or anything negative, but just like you recognize her when she walks in the space. And I was like, man, that's pretty cool. And so I always admired that from afar and was just like, yeah, but that's not for me.
And now you become it because,
man,
y'all don't even know. You become it. It's amazing. Wow. That's good.
It is wild, though, when I think about it. Because I am so different now. I've learned how to turn it on and turn it off. But, yeah, it's amazing to me sometimes.
It's still, you still have a way. Like, it's still in you, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. You got out of college. That tickles me that the doggone envelope was on. You had the job offer. Did you have any, was that your first real job? Like that was your first job? Did you have any hustles?
In college, I worked at Little Caesars.
Did you now? Mm-hmm. I would have lost that bet. B says hot and ready.
One summer I worked at our local electric company. Okay. Power company. I don't remember what I did, but I was there. One summer I worked for C. Dolores Tucker, the woman who was anti-Tupac. You remember?
That was interesting.
Mm-hmm. I ended up working for her one summer. Yeah, it was interesting.
Good, yeah. An experience.
It was.
Say.
Yes,
yeah.
Yes. She was everything that you saw in the public image.
This is what it was.
Yes.
What you see is what you get.
But yeah, those were sort of my little summer gigs.
That's funny. It's my family refers to me as a Jamaican. They say I've always held, in totally different industries. Just you can find me doing anything, and I'm like, oh, this is great. I love it. But somehow they all just kind of work together.
They do
to get you to
yes, yes. Because I had to start coming out of my shell with C. Dolores.
I bet you did.
And so and then customer service with Little Caesars. Pepco, I don't really know what that was. It just filled the blanks, but
Yeah, sometimes you just gotta have
But yeah, like it all worked together and it all fed this.
That is so funny. So in the early years when you were like, okay, I am officially now a business.
Mm-hmm.
Was it exciting? Was it scary? Can you kind of walk us through what that was like in the beginning years?
100% the scariest thing ever. Now, I'm in a unique situation because I do still have my full-time 9-to-5 job. So I didn't have the pressure of, and still don't have the pressure of, this has to pay my salary and has to feed me, right?
Mm-hmm.
So scary, yes, but without the normal pressure that other people have to endure.
Yeah.
I acknowledge that.
You have a security blanket.
I do, yes. I do. But the process of wanting to operate in integrity and do things legally, because many of my counterparts...
Did you catch that? Legally?
Legally. Okay.
Just saying.
Because many of my counterparts are,
Yeah.
still doing stuff sort of under the table and taking payment methods that aren't quite legal for your business.
Yeah.
Right? They aren't actually registered with the state, and
Right.
they aren't paying people who should be employees as employees.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yes.
Right? And so it's scary. And it's been a process that I've had to learn how to navigate. Because as much as I've asked God for a mentor, he's been like, I got you.
I got you. Yeah.
And so I've been walking through this process blind, right? And having to learn things as I go along and wanting to do them right so that as I scale and as I grow, I'm not hitting roadblocks that are prohibiting me from moving forward.
Yep.
Right. And so it's been scary. It's been frustrating. It's been hard.
And that is the truth. And what I try to tell our entrepreneurs, like, hey, we don't sugarcoat it here. Like, we want people to know, like, entrepreneurship is ghetto. And there are days where we quit. I quit multiple times a week. I get up, I'm like, yeah, I don't want to do it no more. And then I get up the next day like, okay, so what are we doing today?
That's about right.
Who will we serve today?
Yeah, I had one of those days this week.
Yeah, it happens, right? But it's something, it's just in us.
Yeah,
it's our purpose. We got to keep going.
And it's not about us.
No.
It's about the people that we're serving.
Yeah. So. Which sometimes,
they themselves, we wish we could sort of throw off a cliff somewhere.
Just saying. Respectfully.
Yes.
Have you had a moment where you almost gave up? And what kept you going? Like a tangible one that you like, yeah, I remember. I almost gave up.
I had a bride who I felt like I was bending over backwards for. Yeah. And did everything that I could possibly do for her. Nothing satisfied her. Yeah. Nothing made her happy. Every time she turned around or we had a conversation, she was saying something very demeaning, very disrespectful. And I was like, ma'am, how about I just cancel this contract and then I'm just going to shut everything down? Because if anybody else is walking this earth that's like you,
I'm not going to be able
I'm
to
done.
Do that. Yeah.
And so I think that was the one. Yeah. It's the hardest part for me is people who think that we are their servants. Yeah. And think that we aren't human and have our own feelings and have our own emotions and have our own lives.
Yeah.
Outside
of it. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Like, no, I'm not responding to your text message at 11:30 at night. Yeah. I got to set boundaries. And I didn't at first.
Of course not.
I didn't.
You learn boundaries. You don't just come in with boundaries.
Ooh.
You learn boundaries.
You learn them the hard way.
Absolutely. That's the only way they stick. There's no way you can.
And being a reformed people pleaser, right?
My therapist would be happy to hear this. We were just talking about that this morning.
Being a reformed people pleaser, I had to be okay with saying, I can't. No was a complete sentence.
Period.
And if it's not going to make or break your day, for me to not respond right now, I'll get to you tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And it's okay.
And it's okay.
And I had to learn to be okay with that.
What made you I mean, obviously her day came and it went.
And it went. And I was as quick out the door as I could
You
be.
said, listen, can't get out of here fast enough.
Man.
What made you sign up to do it again? Like, what made you say, okay, fine, I'll do it again?
As I was planning her wedding, there was another bride who was the complete opposite.
Okay.
She helped. At the same time, I have a good friend. We've been friends for decades. His name is Horace.
Name drop. Hey, Horace.
And he literally did my very first wedding with me.
Okay. Oh,
right?
he's been there from the
very beginning. Yes. And he's still present. And he was like, really? You gonna let this one cuckoo chick
take over? Yeah.
Shift you from what you love and what you know God has called you to do? Fine. You know.
That's a friend.
And yeah.
Yeah.
He pulled me back.
That's good. And I talked about this with a different guest that, it's important to have your tribe and your support circle for days like that and moments like that to be able to give you that different perspective to say, hey, girl, wake up. It's okay. Like, we're going to keep going.
Yeah.
And it's, as you're going through business, I'm sure you've experienced it where, those roles have changed. People in those roles have changed.
100%. Yes.
We've learned to recognize the red flags, and then we learn how to choose wisely who we put in those said positions. And, just like with other things, sometimes we just have to learn it the hard way. We just got to get burned, and then we.
Absolutely. That's life.
That's life.
Right? Children go through it when you tell them don't touch the hot stove.
But I have to. I have to know. What are you saying? Why can't I do this?
Exactly. What does hot really mean? Oh, that's what it means.
That's
okay, it means. Got you.
Got it. And won't do it again.
And won't
you
do
see
it
how
again.
that works?
Yeah.
Ooh, yes.
It's been a journey.
So interesting because a journey is what it is. Entrepreneurship is a journey. And I commend you because you have to, as an entrepreneur and still having a full-time, like, who does it? I don't know. You're the only one I know. So you have a different perspective that you could offer us. But I think in the same vein, the entrepreneurship, it does not matter. It still it comes with its own set of challenges. And so we know that entrepreneurship can be overwhelming. How has mental health played a role in your journey?
Oh, see what had happened.
We were going out there. Yeah.
I am not a stranger to the battle with anxiety and depression.
Same.
And I have learned to be honest with myself and honest with my circle and my tribe when I'm not in the best place. Because whether it's them shielding me from the outside to give me space to recover, or it's them reaching down and pulling me out. If I'm not honest with them, then I will stay stuck. And I've been stuck. And I've seen what stuck has done to me and to clients.
Yeah.
Right? And it's been one of the more difficult parts of the journey, honestly. I haven't consistently found like a therapist or someone to talk to, a counselor to talk to.
A bunch of them I can refer you.
Please and thank you.
Because I just attract them.
Okay.
But they're all really good.
Okay. Please and thank you. Because I won't even go down the line of those stories and the woman that would eat her lunch and then get the itis and go to sleep in our sessions.
See, that's a problem for me. So therapists, if you're listening, I won't drop your name, but you know who you are. When we have our sessions, we have this thing. If she yawns, I'm triggered. I'm like, so am I boring you?
That part.
And so now
and I don't say it.
She tries to yarn, but it's so fun. She's like, it's not you. I'm just tired today. I'm like, you need to get that together because now I'm like,
Yeah.
Is this unimportant to you?
Yeah.
So going to sleep, I would have lost it.
Yeah. And at that point, I didn't have the voice to say anything.
Of course
so
not.
I just shut down.
Yep.
And I just stopped going. Like, we had an appointment scheduled. I was like, oh, I'm not going to make it. And I never rescheduled.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So
I don't blame you.
yeah.
I don't blame you.
Yeah. And so I haven't, I won't go down my therapist stories. It's a crazy ride. But I just have had varying experiences where I didn't feel fully safe in the space
You weren't.
for me.
You weren't. And you weren't supported.
Yeah.
And you want to know how I found my therapist? I was battling depression and anxiety. And so I was diagnosed by my regular primary physician. Okay. And so he put me on some medication to kind of just get me regulated. And so I have reached a point where I needed more support. So my husband says, okay, well, let's find one. So he's on the phone and he was looking. I think he put in a criteria. It had to be a Black woman or something. I think that was the criteria he put. And so we're looking and I saw her picture. I said, oh, she's cute. All right, I'll call and make an appointment. And that
Love it.
is how I met her. And so since then she has, she started her own practice. She had just moved up back here from Alabama, and I was her first client here. So now she has her own practice, and I refer a lot of people there just because I know. And so now she's graduated me and kind of kicked me to the curb, and now I got another therapist whose nerves I get on now. So it's fine. But I said that to say that people have their own way of finding, and so unfortunately, you have the same experience that a lot of people have when they're trying to kind of sift through, and they do not hit the lotto with these people. And it gets discouraging. And you say, you know what? I'm good. I do it myself. Thank you so much.
Pretty much.
Thank you for sharing that. And yes, I got people, no worries. And I always tell people, and for you, if you are at the place where you're like, hey, I need some additional support, not to say shop around, but your therapist is going to be a part of your support circle, and you want to and need to be able to feel safe with that person. And so that's the only way you're going to actually open up and actually get the assistance. And so if it doesn't feel right, move on. It's okay. They big girls and boys. They'll, and they're not all created equal. Everybody is not in it for the right reasons. I've met them too. So I'm just saying, just be encouraged. And it may be a journey to finding that person, but you will. And it'll change your life.
Yeah. And remember that
change theirs.
Or that.
Because my poor therapist.
And I think it's important to remember too that you're worth the journey.
You're worth the journey.
You deserve to go on the journey to find the right person. Now I'm saying that to myself.
You got this.
Right. But yes.
And then I love the ones that are like, okay, so what are you looking for? And they can kind of say, oh, this person will be perfect for you. That's always helpful too. You kind of got to, kind of girlfriends. Tell me who I should.
Fair.
Yeah. And then like my poor therapist, once we finally got into it, I said, oh, now I see why she put us together. Love you. She gonna be laughing, y'all. I'm telling you. What's one challenge you faced that taught you the most about yourself?
Being a wedding planner. So I say that jokingly but seriously at the same time, because one of the things that I hear consistently from vendors and clients alike is that when chaos happens, you handle that so well.
I've seen it. You do.
You were so calm.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I was freaking out on the inside. What are you talking about? Y'all didn't see it?
Nope.
And I've realized through this process that God has graced me in the midst of chaos to be a voice of reason and to be the one that can bring resolve.
Yeah.
Right. And I've found that that's shown up in other spaces as well.
Oh, yeah.
And so I think that's the biggest thing that I've learned about that. That I'm capable of this,
Yes.
to have the confidence to say that I am capable of this, but also that I do actually have this God-given skill set to manage the chaos and bring resolve.
And it is a skill set, like it is. And I think that the only people that should be wedding planners are people like you, because you're like, you can't contribute to the problem. You have to actually be the solution. You see how that goes?
Man,
Yeah.
I hear so many horror stories from couples, and it breaks my heart because I'm like, this person should not be functioning in this role. And they think it's fun.
Right.
Because they see the pretty side of it. They see the photos we post on social media, and they see the highlight reel. But you didn't see me just last Saturday realizing that the bus was at one hotel and my guests were at another, and they should have been picked up 30 minutes ago.
Absolutely.
Right? And because they aren't here yet, my ceremony is now delayed. And my bride is wondering what's happening while we're running late. You don't see that. Right? All while still being able to resolve this and manage the other problems that are also happening.
I don't understand how y'all do it. Like, it's one of my favorite movies is The Wedding Planner.
Yep.
And I just feel like I just live vicariously through her in the movie, because I'm like, I don't know how but it's you're steps ahead. You're thinking of all the things that could possibly go left. You're like, don't worry, I prepare for this. I plan for this.
Yeah, you have to. You have to know your clients. You have to know their families and the dynamic to be able to anticipate, hey, this aunt is going to be a problem.
Yeah.
Because she likes to be the center of attention.
Oh, yeah.
Right? You have to know that your bride functions at a very high level of anxiety. So you have to either, depending on the person, over communicate to keep her calm, or hide everything from her to keep her calm.
Yeah.
Right? But you got to know your people in order to manage that.
Man, you have a special role. That's amazing. This is good. How do you take care of yourself now while running your business?
Oh, it is pretty. Oh, what's this smell like?
Oh, this is good. Are you taking care of yourself now while you're running your business?
Okay, in all honesty, no, I'm not. I'm not doing a very good job.
Most entrepreneurs don't. Go ahead.
Yeah. I don't. I've allowed, let me just be honest, I've allowed work to take over my self-care. And so I've put on about 35, 40 pounds.
Yep.
Right. I don't rest as well as I should consistently.
Yep.
Right. Yeah, I just don't.
What's interesting is I think that there are cycles in this, and we all hit that time frame where we don't.
Yeah.
And I'm only feeling chin up and shoulders back today because we've been working on this in therapy for the last 3 weeks about me doing my own self-care. I am learning the importance of putting myself first. Yeah. I always thought that was selfish. Always the negative, sides of it, especially when you are a reformed people pleaser. You put this pressure and this extra expectation on you to, overperform for these people that they don't even know to care that you're doing all this sacrificing that they can't see.
Facts.
But one thing, my chiropractor, the other day, now he's supposed to be adjusting me, but he read me. And I left out of there like, I haven't known him long at all. But what he was saying is that, Lindsey, you have this personality. It's just big. And you come into a room and it's just this big personality and it jumps off onto other people. Mm-hmm. And I changed the atmosphere in the room. And he says, well, if you're doing all that pouring out and you don't pour back in, I said, I know it's going to leave me depleted. I got it. I'm there. Thank you. Sorry.
Yeah.
But when I went back and thought about it because my therapist had already been saying, when I thought about it, I was like, okay, so at what point are you going to go ahead and fill it up?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, you know what depletion will lead to, mm-hmm. especially having a history of depression and anxiety. And now ADHD, I have extra superpowers that I have to consider.
Yeah.
And now for me, it is more of a necessity because I want to live.
Yeah.
But you got to get there. Like, that's not everybody's story, and it's Absolutely. Not where everybody is. And I'm not that person that just shames people. I'm just like, hey, when the day comes, baby, we're going to have a good time celebrating you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that goes for, all entrepreneurs, especially women, because we're naturally the caretaker. Mm-hmm. We take care of everybody. But if you have nothing left, you won't even be able to take care of those people that you love. Yeah. And so if you don't do it for anybody else, do it for the people that you want to be there for to take care of.
Absolutely.
Because you're going to have nothing left.
Absolutely.
I said, wow, it really runs out, doesn't it? I'm like, oh, I guess it does. Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. Why is positive representation of Black women in business important to you?
For me, representation is important because the legacy has to continue, right? It can't just end with us. We have a finite amount of time that we are willing and able yeah. to give,
yeah.
right, to our industries. And if there aren't people that are coming behind us and we aren't in a position to show people that it's possible, then those that are behind us can't come forward, or they're going to have a much harder journey. And as things in our nation are shifting
every day,
okay,
every moment,
okay, and the faces are changing,
mm-hmm.
right? It's important for my niece, my great niece, to see me functioning and thriving so that they can say, oh, if Nikeva did it, I can do it too.
I can do it too.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
If she did it, so can I. Right? And they don't have to know me. I don't have to be Nikeva to them. But just to see me setting the standard and raising the bar of excellence and raising the standard of expectation in this industry amongst vendors and clients alike.
Right.
Right? See me doing it and then excel far past where I am.
Right.
Right. Don't just hit my plateau or hit where I am. Go above me.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Because you've got my experience and your knowledge.
Right.
And your youth and your vigor and all that you have. You can go even further.
Yeah.
But I have to be seen. We have to be seen. All of us have to be visible to those other young ladies to also help balance the video vixen.
Hello?
The perfection of influencers, right? Like, we're battling so much. I was at a restaurant just last night, and these two girls were sitting across the table from each other. And I promise the first 30 minutes they were at that table, they were taking photos of themselves.
Oh, good Lord.
Back and forth. And I asked my niece, I was like, is this normal for your age? Like, what is happening? Like, they didn't order food. They just
taking pictures.
Literally, like full camera, full flash, all the things, right? And them taking all of these photos was just for the purpose of getting one good shot. Trying to be perfect for social media. This is what people see more often than they see us as entrepreneurs and business owners and women who are honest about our flaws and, our imperfections and our areas of opportunity for growth. Like, we have to be present so that the little girl who doesn't feel like she looks like that Instagram or TikTok model still feels value.
Right.
Because she sees somebody else that's still successful. Not that there isn't a place of success in some way that's healthy, for social media influencers, but there's also another way.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to be visible so those young women can see that.
That's absolutely. Gosh. That's how your mom's friend's daughter
Yes.
was able to even put that into your mind. What's one myth or stereotype about Black women in business you'd like to see erased?
We are not all mean and angry Black women.
This keeps coming up. This is true.
We're not. I will tell you the hard truth, and I will do it with a smile every single time. Mm-hmm. Right? And I'll be like, it's okay, but this is what we need to do now. Right? But I'm not angry.
I'm not angry.
Now, if you tick me off, I might.
Well, that's different.
Angry, right?
But direct is not angry.
Right. I'm not condescending. I'm not mean. I'm not scary. I am approachable. Now, admittedly, I got a little RBF. Ain't much I can do about that. I try to be aware, but
she said, I try to be aware.
I try to be aware of it, keep it light. But if I'm thinking, and my mind it's gonna fall, but it's okay, right? But yeah, that whole angry Black woman stereotype. Oh,
agreed.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to a woman who's just starting her business?
Trust yourself. Trust yourself. Trust your instinct. If you're taking this journey and God has given you this vision, trust the voice on the inside of you to take the steps forward to do what he's given you to do.
I love that. What's one thing you wish you knew before you began your journey?
One thing.
One thing?
Oh, man. That you don't have to get it right the first time.
That part.
It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay.
That part. Yes.
Because every mistake is an opportunity to learn and possibly fall into something that differentiates you from your competitors.
Mm-hmm. Love that. How can people connect with you or follow your work or support SouthWind?
So you can find SouthWind Events on Instagram, SouthWind.events. We're on TikTok and Facebook, SouthWind Events. That's pretty much
Just that?
That's where we are.
If little brown girls are listening right now, what's one thing you want them to know?
You are beautiful. You are gifted. You are talented. You are amazing just the way you are. Don't let a single soul tell you there's anything wrong with your hair color, your skin color, your body shape, your body size. You are good enough just as you are. You don't have to change your nose. You don't have to add any hair. You're good enough just the way you are.
I second that. It's true.
Mm-hmm.
I so enjoyed this time with you today. I love doing this. I get to learn from so many different people with so many different, backgrounds. And but we all at the core still the same.
Still the same. We're still women with the same struggles Just in different forms.
Just in different forms.
Yeah.
Or I was just there.
Yes.
And now I'm just on the next block, but I'm waiting for you.
Exactly.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. This is the I Swear I'm an Introvert podcast. You can find us on heels2sneakers.net. That's heels like your shoe, HEELS, 2, sneakers with an S.net. We are on all the social media platforms, Heels2Sneakers. To all the entrepreneurs out there, girl, you got this. Talk to y'all later.